I remember speaking to the operator and I remember saying, I just need help. And he was like, okay, but what is it exactly that's going on? And I was like, there's too much to try and explain, but I don't want to be a statistic.
Early on, when I split up with my ex-husband, I printed out the Bill of Human Rights and stuck it on my fridge. And I often used to look at it to remind myself that I had the right to feel safe. You know, I had the right to express an opinion. These are just fundamental human rights that person takes away from you.
I talk about the abuse that I suffered because I felt so alone and so ashamed of what was going on behind closed doors. And I don't want anyone to ever feel like there is no help.
Around the world, millions of people have been stuck at home to try and help control the spread of the coronavirus. But for many, this means spending every day and every night with an abuser. During the pandemic, the UK's main domestic abuse helpline has been lighting up, with 66% more calls for help, and visits to their website are up 950%. But calls to Italy's largest helpline halved in the first 2 weeks of lockdown, as victims struggled to get to the phone. This happened in Spain too, so they set up a WhatsApp service, which drew in 270% more messages under lockdown. But domestic abuse isn't just about the statistics. It's about people like Charlotte and Natalie. Here are their stories of survival.
When we moved in together in our own property, that's when things started to really show. I just knew from how the key went in the door, how the rest of the evening would go. Look at you, you're a waste of space, you're no good, shouting and screaming, losing his temper, smashing things up. Wherever I went, there would be so many phone calls, even if it was just to pop to my friends or to my mum and dad's. Where are you, what you're doing, who you're talking to, who you're with. It could be like a couple of hundred phone calls a day.
He sort of swept me up in this world where he just adored me, or that's what I thought. What I guess we call abuse, as in the physical side of it, didn't start till later. Anyway, I married him and I cried in the toilets on my wedding day. I had children with him, and over time, the physical abuse got worse. What the pandemic is doing is suddenly the lid is just being blown off what was already a terrible problem. There are not enough refuge spaces already. On any given day, 6 out of 10 women can't get a space. The system that had no capacity to cope initially is being asked to deal with extra capacity, and it can't because it was degraded to the point of collapse already. There is a web with domestic abuse. It isn't a single issue. You have to look at the whole picture of what's going on rather than just looking at one single thing like the stereotypical black eye that we see. We need to start talking about coercive control because it's a much better description of what domestic abuse actually is. It's talking about a pattern of behaviours and, does he monitor who you speak to? Are you isolated? Is there financial abuse? Is there sexual abuse? Is there physical abuse? Those things all together complete the picture.
Probably about maybe 2 months before I fled, he pawned my engagement and wedding ring. I remember him dragging me there and I was sobbing my heart out, thinking how hurtful and how cruel that is. And kind of that's when it all changed for me. And I was thinking, I need help, I need to get out, I've got to get help, and I've got to put this marriage behind me. He started to say that there's nothing left in this world for us and that we need to do a double suicide. And I truly believe that if I didn't flee when I did, I wouldn't be here.
He just kept saying over and over again, it was like a robot, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you, and as he was punching me. I thought, I am going to die here tonight. And my son, I remember my son was at his grandmother's, and I just remember thinking I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye. I find it incredibly frustrating when people say, why didn't she just leave? I honestly, I want to say, look, there's 100 reasons, and give me a few hours and I can explain it to you. It starts small and you trust them and love them. It's that then becomes, over time, it's like a snowball rolling down a hill. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And ultimately, you lose faith in your own ability to assess a situation.
After 6 years, Natalie left her partner. Now she spends part of her time as an ambassador for Women's Aid. And Charlotte, she survived 16 years of domestic abuse. She now runs a refuge, giving women and children a place to go when they're escaping violence, and the support they need to try and rebuild their own lives.
There is an epidemic already with domestic abuse. The statistics are so high. Your friend, your auntie, your uncle, your brother, your sister, that everybody will know somebody who is going through domestic abuse. Don't sweep it under the carpet. Keep giving people the confidence to reach out for help and support. No matter what, there is people that will listen to you. Or if you're a neighbour that constantly hears shouting and screaming and things that just are awful, and that gut feeling, always listen to it, report it. It could save a life.
I'm a strong woman. I never thought I'd be in this position myself, and if you asked me to pinpoint how it happened and where it happened, I'd still really struggle to do that. And there are women that are really angry when they come, and understandably we have to help them learn how to process that and where to direct that anger. There are women that are so guilty, even though it's not their fault. They're ashamed of what they've been through and it's not their fault. And it's just unpicking all of that with the ultimate goal of starting again, free from abuse, starting their lives again.